everybody, I'm Tara.
And I'm Dana.
And welcome to The Reading Party.
Come on inside.
Come on inside.
Get in here.
There's a party.
I just talked to everyone like a dog. Get in here. Let's go.
Let's go now. So, we have concluded as a team of two people.
It's a partnership. It's a partnership. It's all good.
That Dumbledore is the worst headmaster of all time. And,
Contrary to popular belief.
Yes. And here's why.
So, to start from the beginning, it happens literally first chapter of book one.
Mm-hmm.
When he decides to put Harry into the Dursleys' care.
I know that he goes on his little spiel in book 5 about how that was the way to keep him safe from Voldemort. I could have put you in a sorry. But I could put you in a wizarding family and you would have been loved, but your mother's protection is what protected you. And I know the justification, but what if I told you that it wasn't justified at all? It's not necessary by any means. When does Voldemort come back? When?
When he's 11.
When he's 11, he doesn't even fully come back until he's 14. So why was that necessary all those years? Like, Dumbledore put him in on the off chance that Voldemort would return at some time during that time. Is it really worth it to risk years and years and years of abuse? I'm getting a little heated. Okay, you continue.
Years of emotional abuse. Like, Harry is traumatized by, like, this family does not accept him for who he is, and they constantly punish him, put him under the stairs, don't allow him to celebrate anything in life. He's never allowed to have any happiness.
Or love. Any love.
But it's justified because Voldemort might come back?
If Voldemort came back, Dumbledore could have made himself secret keeper.
Yeah.
And Harry would never have to be abused. Or maybe he could have had, Aurors guarding him and not use Squib to guard him.
Like, if Muggles are supposed to be... Like, because wizards see Muggles as lesser than, at least the pure-blooded, whatever, people. They see the Muggles as lesser than. So why are the Muggles who, don't have all of the magic even guarding him in the first place? Like, how are they better protecting him? It just doesn't make sense.
I understand the thing about the mother's blood. I understand that. I also... I understand, I get it, but that is not the only method to protect someone.
It's not the only method.
The only method to protect you from Voldemort is through this particular form of magic. You mean there's no other form of magic? You mean there's no such thing as a secret keeper? If you trust no one to be secret keeper, why aren't you secret keeper yourself, Dumbledore?
And if he's so passionate about protecting Harry, right? Why not be in charge of his fate in that way?
There was literally no point for Harry being there for 11 years because Voldemort didn't even come back during that time.
Why does everyone just blindly trust that he knows what Harry should be, where he should be going to be safest? And why does he get to make that decision? He's not the Minister of Magic.
Or even that, the Minister of Magic doesn't have power over guardianship. Who did Lily and James make Harry's guardian after they died? Sirius Black, okay?
Sirius
and
Black.
Even before Dumbledore thought that Sirius Black had become evil, had betrayed him, Dumbledore had decided that Harry was to go to the Dursleys without explaining to anyone. And Hagrid talks about this in Prisoner of Azkaban.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, Sirius Black was there and he said, I'm his godfather, Hagrid. I'll take him. And Hagrid was just like, nope, I got my orders.
My orders straight from Dumbledore.
The headmaster of the school.
Can't help you. Can't help you with your legal guardian status because Dumbledore said otherwise.
And Sirius just allowed it to happen.
And
poor Sirius, though. Sirius
really does get the short end of the stick for pretty much all situations in this world, but that's a different video.
But no one takes him seriously over Harry's guardianship. No. Molly Weasley, for example, Sirius was like, I want Harry to know this information. Mm-hmm. He's my godson. I make this decision. You can choose however you want to do with your children, but I choose mine. And she's like, it's not up to you to decide what's good for Harry. Dumbledore said. Why? It is up to him. It is up to him.
He's the godfather. He's the one Harry would be left to.
Dumbledore is the headmaster. I don't care.
He's the headmaster of a school. Does that make him in charge of every single student that's going to come through his school?
Seriously?
Does he get to be the guardian of all those children? Because apparently, with Harry, it sets that precedent. He's just
really-
the headmaster of a school.
And he's a shitty headmaster of that. Speaking of which,
Next point.
what does he enable?
Bullying, abuse from students and from
The
teachers towards the students. He just doesn't do anything to combat that.
I literally can't believe how he just allows Snape to treat the students the way he does. If he wants to keep Snape as a teacher, whatever. If he wants to use him as a spy, okay, we understand. But he just lets him abuse the students.
Yeah, and it's not just Harry. It's like all
Everyone.
the students.
Like the things that he says to like
Yeah.
Hermione and like all like, you know, the really disgusting stuff he says, he's able to get away with all of it, and also he's able to get away with unfair punishment. You know how he just like takes points off for no reason?
Yeah.
He's just allowed.
Because he has this position of power as a teacher.
But honestly, like
And no one's reprimanding him for it.
yeah, in so many schools, if a teacher treated a student like that, they would get fired. Like absolutely. But Dumbledore defends him, even though nobody. But it's fine because what?
Because Dumbledore's king.
Because
Snape is his spy, and he's his little minion, and he doesn't care what Snape does as long as they take down Dumbledore in the end.
on top of that, he totally uses Snape.
Yeah, he does.
Like it's kind of fucked up if you really think about it.
Yeah, the
That's a good-
headmaster point is allowing his students to experience emotional trauma and abuse and bullying
Bullying
on his grounds.
Also, he completely enables and allows bullying from the students as well.
Mhm.
There is no severe punishment for bullying whatsoever, and there's serious bullying going on at Hogwarts. And Dumbledore does nothing.
Even the punishments that are somewhat administered are never from Dumbledore. It's always from other
Like
professors.
they're like 20 points from Slytherin. For that, like, for, like, bullying like that. 20 point, like, they allow, when Harry was being bullied, remember, in Goblet of Fire, and they had, like, those badges that, like, hating Harry Potter.
Yeah, no one did anything.
Dumbledore should have banned them. That's outright, like, serious
How come
bullying.
the punishment for crashing into the Whomping Willow was more severe than the insane amount of bullying happening on that campus? They almost got expelled. The dogs really hate Dumbledore.
Because they won't stop.
They will not stop barking through this video.
Yeah, so they took out hundreds of points for them just being outside at nighttime. But the insane amount of bullying, do you see that amount of points being taken down for that?
Never!
Never!
Never.
20 points from Gryffindor, or 20 points from Slytherin, or 20 points from blah 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 blah, and 1 detention.
It just makes zero sense. The punishment never fits the crime.
Like, there should be some sort of suspension. There should even be threats of expulsion for students for insane bullying. That's, like, the way to stop bullying. Dumbledore doesn't give a fuck.
He doesn't.
He doesn't give a fuck. And they're just like, oh, they just have a rivalry. Oh my god.
Rivalry should be fun and games, not, like, actual emotional distress. The last part, and maybe the most significant, is the way Dumbledore treats Harry specifically.
I know people talk about how, like, Dumbledore, like, raised Harry like a pig for slaughter, via Snape's words. But I feel like the proper way is that he, like, grooms Harry to sacrifice himself rather than serves him on a silver platter to Voldemort, which is what he did. But he, like, the thing is, he raised Harry to be willing to walk into death with, like, open arms.
Mm-hmm.
And he knew that Harry would most likely have to die at the end, and he raised him to be willing to die. How did he do that, Dana?
He doesn't treat Harry well when Harry needs support, and basically treats him like he doesn't really mean anything and is worthless and not valuable as a person.
Yeah, also, like, putting him in situations with the Dursleys, not stopping any sort of abuse or bullying.
I mean, Harry has no self-worth
Like-
coming out of the Dursleys. He doesn't understand why he should matter. He genuinely doesn't have any self-confidence or self-worth.
I remember I read, like, a comment that someone wrote online that said that, like, Harry isn't just, like, super, super brave. He throws himself in, like, the face of danger because it's, like, passive suicidal ideation. He doesn't mind dying because he doesn't think he's, like, worth.
Yeah, he wants to save everybody and is more than happy to do that at his own expense.
I think that's something that is clearly a way he was being raised. He's not given the proper support. A lot of it is obviously Dumbledore's doing. Like, for example, oh my god, when Harry, like, was devastated over, like, Sirius's death, that happens to be, it's then when Dumbledore tells Harry that, like, it's all on his shoulders to save the world when Harry is vulnerable and broken, and not before that. It means something, guys. It's not just like something that just happened to be. And then he gives Harry zero support throughout the entire book, while Harry's literally being tortured by Umbridge. He just doesn't even talk to him because
you won't even see him. He ignores him. Harry will try to talk to him. He walks the other way. He makes himself impossible to get a hold of. He can only talk to Harry. Harry can only talk to him on Dumbledore's terms.
Also, how Dumbledore, like, didn't tell Harry all the information that was necessary because he thought that, like, Harry might be tempted by the Hollows and just wanted him to focus on this task. And also he says, either he says it or Harry thinks it, I don't remember, but, like, that he would not be able to do everything that he had to do if he knew that he would have to die at the end. Dumbledore engineers that.
Time and time again, and through every character, and all, like, every character, Snape, Malfoy, Voldemort, they're all little pawns in Dumbledore's game to engineer Harry to do what Dumbledore thinks is best for everybody else, and to make Harry act in a certain way, and position him in a way that he's willing to sacrifice himself.
He ruined Harry's life. Like, seriously. Destroyed his childhood.
Harry has no childhood.
Harry has no childhood!
Harry has no childhood. And then the minute he goes to school, he starts self-sacrificing for everybody else and almost dying repeatedly with no value for his own life until he eventually, at the end, has to sacrifice himself for Voldemort. And
Also, the thing is that Harry is actually rewarded for his acts of, like, self-sacrifice in all the books where he nearly dies, rather than being told, like, you should not sacrifice yourself, like, you shouldn't do that, that's too dangerous, like, you have to, think about your own life. Dumbledore rewards him with house points and telling him
no matter how many rules he's breaking.
Yeah, because he doesn't want to shut down, like, Harry's willingness to, like, throw himself, at a train.
He also isn't willing to shut down when Harry's put in positions that he doesn't even want to be in. Like in the Goblet of Fire, where he's forced to go through these trials that could kill him. Dumbledore doesn't shut that down either.
No, because, like, why would he want Harry to feel like his life had any purpose and meaning?
Aside from dying
and sacrificing it for other people. Because then he wouldn't sacrifice himself at the end. Dumbledore is shit. He's an interesting character.
Very interesting.
He's a good character as a character, not as a person. And
he's good as in the construction of his character is very deep. And, there's a lot of complexity.
He's very, very morally gray.
He makes some really bizarre decisions for someone who is referred to as the greatest headmaster of all time.
Excuse me? Like, I don't want him as my headmaster. That's the greatest headmaster ever?
There's plenty of good from Dumbledore, but there's a lot of gray areas.
He actually just continuously just manipulates Harry over and over. His entire, like, relationship with Harry is built on lies and consistent manipulation.
Worst or best headmaster?
Worst.
I lean towards worst. I mean, it's hard to make it conclusive because we don't have a lot of information about all the previous other headmasters, but to idolize him and treat him as the purest, holiest God King that there ever was is pretty ridiculous.
But, like, honestly, if Dumbledore, according to them, is the best headmaster of all time, what were the other headmasters like?
That's a pretty bad precedent.
The bar is super
The bar's
low.
really low. That's it.
I think that's it.
That's our little rant. We've had this conversation how many times?
Many times. We have sat and discussed this topic.
It's possible we filmed it before as well.
I think we have.
I think we did.
I think we filmed it for
like a 2-hour version.
I think we filmed it for a previous channel but never edited or uploaded it.
This is definitely the shorter condensed version.
I find it hilarious that like we think we made it. It was years ago.
I don't even remember. But yeah. Anyways, get out.
Leave. The party's over.
Party's over.
Get out of my house.
We made really bad accusations towards the headmaster, and now it's over.
See you later.
Bye.